Supposedly we're live?
With fingers crossed. Bravely we go. From the industrial wasteland of Michigan to the fruited plains of Iowa, this is the American Greed Fest.
Why relate to a sheer perversity?
You are the dead. Remain exactly where you are. Make no move until you are ordered.
We burn them to ashes and then burn the ashes. That's our official motto.
Now we can see you. Clasp your hands behind your heads. Stand out in the middle of the room. Stand back to back.
Who can explain the fascination of fire? What draws us to it, whether we're young or old?
Here comes a candle to light you to bed. Here comes a chopper to chop off your head.
And welcome to the American Greed Factory podcast. Nathan.
This is Conlon.
Andrew.
And we're back for more fun and frivolity. Lots of good news in the world. Lots of good things to talk about.
Good news in the world. What site were you looking at?
It's pure sarcasm.
Did you catch up on Westworld?
No.
Are you going to?
Well, I'm about, like I told you before, I'm about to finish Parks and Rec finally.
Okay, yeah.
Then I'll probably watch second season of Glow or the second season of Luke Cage.
I saw both those.
Oh. Saw Westworld season 2, but we'll wait for Andrew on that one.
Yeah.
We can let that one marinate a little bit. Show just gets fucking weirder and weirder. It's actually becoming like painful to watch. It's like, how many different lost things are we gonna do?
Plus, Conlon talking about it on the Chicago road trip made my wife kind of like, maybe we shouldn't watch that. So.
Oh, what did I say then?
Just that, like, the show's quality was so bad in season 2, you stopped watching it.
Yeah.
Usually she's very much in my mindset where it's like, well, if everybody says it's really bad in the second season, should I really get invested in it? So, I mean, I can...
I just had... I mean, I probably should have stopped watching it. But it's like, no, I had to know, like, how far does it go?
But then again, my wife's somebody that liked the second season of True Detective so much she bought it. So
I didn't hate True season 2 as much as everybody else did, but it's no season 1, but there's things I liked about it.
Yeah, I mean, the bus shootout scene was fucking fantastic. And that's pretty much where I stopped watching that fucking season.
But, like, there's maybe 1 or 2 great episodes in season 2 of Westworld, and then a lot of bad.
They could have. My problem with season 2 in general is they could have accomplished everything they need to accomplish in 6 episodes. 6 really strong episodes instead of stretching it out. And they're just, at this point, it's like the first season worked because it was cool, it was new, it was introducing a lot of ideas, and then they, it's like, oh, okay, these storylines are all out of sequence, this is all out of time, that makes it kind of interesting. Season 2, they just took that and like just ran your body through a ringer with like, when is this happening? And they're making it look like it's concurrent, but it's not, and it's like, what are these characters doing? Oh, okay, this is some time fuck thing they're doing where it's like this already happened once because everyone looks exactly the same all the time apparently. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't like, I didn't like it as much as season 1.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I don't like it when they get too clever. They're just like getting too smart for the rooms. Like, okay.
Yeah, a little bit, but I mean, it's still like an unbelievably well done production. I just don't think the story's there.
Yeah.
Or I just don't give a shit. Maybe I had a weird reaction to Glow season 2, so.
That's the glamorous women of wrestling show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which has nothing to do really with the real Glow, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Or Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. That's what. Yeah, I was watching it, and then I was like, I'm not really feeling this right now. It's like, maybe I'll get better. What am I, 2-3 episodes in? I was like, episode 5. Like, oh fuck.
Not feeling it yet. How many did you get with Glow? 10?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it pulls itself around. Episodes 6 through 10 are the strongest episodes. It's weird. I don't think I've ever seen a show like I went halfway through it and didn't enjoy it, and then the rest of the half is really good. They even do one episode as like an in-universe episode of Glow, so it's like this is what the people will be watching inside their universe. So they do an episode like that, which is kind of fun.
What's the time frame on that?
80s, late. The real one was like late 80s, early 90s.
Okay.
So like this one, it's more it's just 80s. That's really the aesthetic they're going for. And they make Alison Brie look like a Sigourney Weaver from Alien.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Yeah, I've been down a Babylon 5 wormhole all week. So. I don't know why. Well, because it just came out on Prime, and I actually wanted to see it all in order.
Yeah.
Because Babylon 5 was like on some weird network.
Well, it's syndicated.
But it was. They also were. It also started a network that didn't last very long, and it went to syndication.
Oh. Is that like the first iteration of like UPN before UPN?
Yeah, it was like Prime TV or something. 'Cause Warner Brothers owns it.
Oh, okay.
So I got to see Babylon 5, but I got to see it like way out of sequence. It's like, why is Bruce Boxleitner on here? Where's the other captain? And then I watched a bunch of those. I'm like, this is interesting, but I feel like I'm missing things. It's like, yeah, because I'm not. That was before on demand. I mean, I've always enjoyed that show. It's kind of a cool show.
Yeah.
It marks the transition point from kind of corny science fiction into like multi-layered storytelling. It is what DS9 did later, and then of course Battlestar Galactica reimagined, and then every fucking thing else after that. So Babylon 5 was a good primer for that.
Yeah.
And Westworld shows how you can take it way too far. So it all does tie in, but yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Oh, have you seen Barry yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's a good show.
Oh, did you see it?
Yeah, oh yeah, I watched them all.
We're working on my new show called Eastland. It's a spin-off of Westworld.
Just gonna make a new Star Trek where none of the episodes are related to each other, but it's all the same characters. Just gonna go back to the roots. Everyone will die in one episode, and then everyone's back in the next episode with no explanation.
I remember they used to do that with animes.
Oh yeah,
because like in Japan they would like regularly kill off main characters in violent ways, and when they brought them over here, they had like this little robot that was like, he's okay, he'll be back next week. And they just like would edit the character into the show. It's like, he's alive.
and no one acknowledged like his death.
Yeah.
And even though in the last episode everyone was weeping over his grave, and the next episode, hey Hashi, what's going on? Not much.
Now
Just
you just need to
show
introduce a
my sword.
character, kill him off in the episode, and next episode his line is "Death is meaningless." And then start the episode. Like,
With a song about the
or just something really deep and profound, like the void of death stretches forever, but I can master it. Just something really fucking weird. And then just like, hey Karen, how was your day? Just right after that.
Sometimes I watch Japanese anime stuff because stuff pops up and I'll watch, especially on Netflix, and I'll just be thinking to myself, still not over that Hiroshima thing yet, are you guys? Guys, you're still dwelling on that.
I saw an anime this week.
Yeah, I saw that, the Assassination Classroom.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I read up on it.
Okay.
I would have some idea what the fuck you were talking
You
about.
heard about it? It's on Hulu, which I guess does Hulu, because I don't know anybody else that does. They do dubs and subs. So,
I mean,
because I prefer dubs because I like to kind of like pay attention to the show, or not pay attention to the show. It works either way.
I mean, I know Attack on Titan, the first season you can choose between. The second season is all just subtitled. Right now.
But all I remember, like on Amazon, I remember like all their stuff there was just subtitled because I wanted to watch Death Note again, but didn't have anything dubbed. It was all subtitled. But anyway, I saw, yeah, they have both. So yeah, it's It's a very dark comedy that is cleverly optimistic.
Oh, okay.
So the premise is, because I guess you haven't heard of it, you don't know anything about it. So there's like a weird guy. He's kind of like a squid, but he's just a giant yellow smiley face, and he kind of has this teacher kind of like graduation robe, and then like tentacles like come out of it, but it's kind of weird hands. It's not less. It's more weirdly like Pokemon, less like alien.
Less like tentacle porn meets elementary school.
Yeah. So he's the teacher of this classroom, and he's teaching them like real things, but also like the objective of the class is to murder him. They're supposed to murder him because if they don't at the end of before they graduate, he will destroy the world.
Well, it sounds like a nice even storyline.
Because it starts out like you can see like the moon like during the day, but it's like a crescent moon. And it's like, well, how's that work? Like there's shadows not on it or whatever, and then you find out like he blew up the moon into a crescent shape. So, but no, Seven Eves didn't happen. But he did that. That didn't happen. But oh well, we don't have to worry about that. And the squid is he's basically like unkillable because he can just like move it instantaneously. Like they constantly talk about how he can go Mach 20. Like he'll go like at break time he'll like just fly off to New York to get like I got a hot dog in New York, and he'll just fly back. And what's weird about the show is like he is genuinely interested in making these kids better people. Because the thing about this class that they're in is that they're all like the misfits. They're all the kids that come from like dejected homes, broken homes. They're like start fires. They are all the kids that like who are going to become drug addicts and go to prison. Like that's all these kids are. And he is genuinely interested in making them better people and making them believe in themselves. But also he wants them to kill him, so he doesn't have to destroy the world.
I wonder who the fuck came up with this story idea. How much is this translated appropriately from Japanese into English?
I don't know, but there was one episode that was like it seemed like some kind of weirdly universal thing. There was an episode where they talk about basically wood porn, or porn you just find in the woods, like a rite of passage for young men to just find porn in the woods, and they use that like in the episode. It's like, oh, so that happens in Japan too, huh? Because that's like one of the kids he finds out I can't remember what they call him. He has like a weird addiction to porn, so he's been like strategically leaving porn in the woods to like catch him off guard so he can try to kill him. And there's like a part where he's like standing in the woods like looking at porn that he left there. And then, like, his eyes, like, bulge out, and he's, like, looking at something. Because, like, all the kids are about to go on a class trip, but they're trying to get some extra money because they want to, like, have fun. Because they're all fucking poor. So they're looking for beetles to, like, sell on the internet. And, like, he spots this beetle, and then, like, he catches it, and then, like, this one lady runs up, and he turns around, or one of the girls, and he turns around and is like, I found it! Like, and she's like, oh, Koro-san, that's what they call him. It means, like, unkillable teacher or something. He's like, I found it, and then like at some point the guy like makes the comment like, well, this is kind of weird. I don't think you've ever seen a teacher talk with a middle schooler like atop a pile of pornography before. And he like realizes the situation like
Oh, okay.
It's like, oh no, and he's like literally standing in a pile of pornography. It's fucking ridiculous. And then that becomes a point. It's like, oh, we'll use his pornography addiction to shame him, and then that'll make him like less effective at dodging our bullets. Because like they don't have like real guns or real knives at the school, because they have like these kind of rubber knives that don't hurt each other, and they have guns that fire pellets, but they're basically like they sound like real guns. But they only hurt him. They don't hurt the kids. So it's kind of like a rule they make or whatever. And like he's like, well, how do we know this doesn't hurt you? We can't ever hit you. And then he like grabs a gun and shoots one of his arms off. And it's like, see, this will hurt me.
I was gonna gonna say, yeah, I'm more like his theory. He has tested on himself.
But I think it's like because I know there's a lot of pressure in Japan for like kids to do well in school and all that stuff like that. So I think like how what makes this show cleverly optimistic is like it's taking like it's probably trying to identify with all those what we consider problem childs. People aren't good in school, and say like no, the problem is like you're in a school that's not going to meet your needs at all. But like here's an example of a teacher that if you just kind of if they like one-on-one knew what you needed, like maybe you could turn yourself around and stuff like that. But also it's like, yeah, I want to kill my teacher. So it has that kind of that double edge, like it's like, yeah, I want to kill my teacher. It's like, oh no, now I'm a productive member of society. The show pulled one over on me.
It got me.
Because there's like one of the first things is like the one of the kids tries to trap. Well, another first thing. The first thing you see is like they show the moon. It's like, what the fuck's wrong with the moon? And the guy shows up to the class. He's like, "Good morning, children," and they just all pull out like machine guns and stuff and start shooting at him. But he's like in 8 different places at once, dodging all the bullets. And so that's one of the first things. And then like the second thing, like the main kid of the show, he like kind of just walks up to the teacher, and one of the other like older kids had convinced him to like wear this like basically suicide vest with like the BBs inside of it. But they had like put like actual like gunpowder in it, so he probably would have been killed. So like at like the last moment, the teacher like covers him in some protective goo as the bomb explodes, so he doesn't get hurt. And then like he goes and like attacks the other kids who like convinced him to do this, and basically he's like, yeah, I signed this contract. But, like I said, I can't harm you children at all. But that doesn't restrain me from harming your families and stuff like that. And he wasn't mad that they tried to kill him. What he was mad about is that the kid would feel no self-worth whatsoever that he would try to kill himself to like appease something or whatever. He's trying to instill a self-worth in the kid. That's what he's mad about.
Value yourself enough.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's always like kind of these learning experience, and then also there's like the gym teachers like basically training children how to be assassins. Yeah, it's a very weird show, but it's interesting. It's a lot of dark humor. They don't kind of double down on the whole notion of why he would destroy the Earth, because he seems to like everything on Earth. Also, they call him alien. He says like, no, I'm born and raised on Earth. So it's like, oh, he must be some kind of weird like science experiment that's gone bad. And then like they have these little flashbacks to where he's talking to some woman and she says, give him a chance. And that's the only backstory you get as to like why he didn't just destroy the Earth. He has to give these kids a chance to kill him for some reason.
Huh.
Because, yeah, it doesn't make sense why he would destroy the Earth, because he seems to enjoy it too much. But there must be some sort of, like, doomsday clock on him or something. Because that was, like, the
weird-looking character.
Yeah. He's just like a giant smiley face, and then he's got tentacles. But it's mostly that he has, like, that graduation robe thing on constantly.
With the half moon on it. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so I'd recommend checking that out. Because I think I saw an advertisement before, but it was just like a still picture, and I read the synopsis, and I was like, that kind of sounds stupid. Because I've been burned on so many animes of like, oh, I love this thing, 5 stars, and it ends up being just stupid.
Nonsense, yeah.
Yeah. So this one, then I heard somebody describe it a bit more thoroughly, and I was like, well, that sounds insane. I gotta check this out.
Yeah, this one from being stupid to deranged. Assassination Classroom. Check it out, everyone.
It's on Hulu.
Oh, yeah, Hulu.
So I don't know if it's anywhere else, but I just know it's on Hulu. It's got 2 seasons, so apparently it's been around a while.
Yeah, sounds like it.
And the sequel, Murder High School, is coming in.
Yeah. Yeah, don't have that too much in America.
Distracted by a cat.
Oh, what's the cat?
I think she wants to lick Andrew's hair.
Oh, good.
She wants to ask me what I thought of Pacific Rim.
Meow, 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 meow. What did you think of Pacific Rim Uprising?
Oh, that was one. Nathan, do you know what the movie Wolf Cop is by chance?
No.
Okay, there's.
Is that like one of those movies about the service dogs that help people?
No. It's like a fucking shitty B horror movie where it's like a werewolf cop. That, like,
I thought it was about like one of those fighting dogs or something. Okay.
No, it's like a. It came out. It came out on Netflix. Released. It wasn't Netflix funded or anything, but it was just like an indie Canada film. And then like the second one came out recently, and I rented it on from Family Video over here on like Wednesday or some shit, and then fucking watched it the same night because it was due back on Thursday. But fucking like basically Kevin Smith's in it for probably about like 10 minutes, and just fucking like. My wife was like, why the hell is Kevin Smith in this? I'm like, I don't know. He probably fucking liked the first movie and they decided to fucking put him in it because he's the only name on that entire fucking movie case.
Oh, yeah. If you put Kevin Smith on something, he'll sell DVDs.
Yeah, so it's...
There's like
what's his name again? Wolf Cop?
Yeah, and the second one's called Another Wolf Cop. But just basically, it's like fucking a werewolf is going around ripping people's heads off, shooting people, and getting drunk. And then also fucking a bunch of people at the same time. Like the second one, like probably some of the best parts of that movie is like every time somebody talks on a walkie-talkie, somebody else in that movie, it's just it's just like, and it's like, no, he's not at the middle. it's like, was that a conscious decision or what the fuck kind of decision was that? Like, it's kind of a.
Probably just some post-production nonsense.
Well, I know, but like you can tell the budget got expanded for the second one because the special effects were better and there was more of them. But it's kind of like a weird storyline between that and like lizard people trying to take over the world and change out people. Like how many
I'm just
times...
imagining this and fuck, what was that movie with the guy? He's the fuck. I want to say it's Samurai Cop or something. No, not Samurai Cop. You know what I'm talking about.
I think so.
Where he's like ends up fighting Hitler and there's like a Tyrannosaurus
Kung Fury.
Yeah, Kung Fury. Yeah.
Does
it look like that at all, or is that?
I'd say the action's not as good. God damn it, Jack!
It's going to town.
But
give me your salt hair.
There's fucking parts of it where, I mean, there's like literally a part where fucking. He stands up because his pants got shot or whatever while he was fucking running away from somebody. It's like, what happened to your pants? And he points over the fence. And then he stands up and he has like this fucking 6-foot cock right under his fucking leg. And it's like, what the fuck is this in here for? It's like, who cares about a werewolf's size, dick size? Like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. It's just like, yeah, it's a weird fucking movie and you can definitely tell it's Canadian. Because, yeah, it's fucking weird. I mean, I don't even know if the first one's on Netflix anymore. I know the second one's supposed to come out on Netflix here soon.
My favorite Canadian film besides Strange Brew is the security camera in Chilliwack, British Columbia. Remember the camera outside the guy's house?
Yeah.
Going on, it's like this is the best Canadian movie I've ever seen outside of Strange Brew.
Oh,
I don't know where that guy lives, but what a hellhole.
I think he explained in the comments. He's like 5 miles from like both a jail and a school, and it's just like this magical intersection of humanity in its worst place.
It's a bunch of drug addicts and juvenile delinquents.
Yes. Oh, Letterkenny finally. They got a distribution. They're like somewhere, like they're on like Hulu or something now.
Yeah, it's like I think it's Hulu or Amazon, one of the two.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Letterkenny?
Oh,
it's like this. You had to bootleg it for the longest time because it was like something like Crave TV. It was like some Canadian broadcasting thing, and like they have clips of their shit like all over the internet. Or if you go to Daily Motion, you can just steal it, or you can just steal it on the internet. But there's like no legitimate way if you lived in America to buy something to watch it. There's no way to do it because you had to like live in Canada and subscribe to the service to watch it.
Oh, okay.
So you just had to bootleg it. But there's like 3 or 4 seasons out, and it's finally like made it here so you can legitimately watch it. Like you couldn't even like buy it on Amazon.
Huh. So what is it?
Oh, it's just a weird kind of stupid show with a lot of like funny jokes and stuff.
Huh.
Considering how popular certain Canadian shows like the Red Green Show, where that was kind of fucking just like on a public broadcast thing in Canada, and that was still popular enough you could see it here.
Yeah, or
Letterkenny never made it here until now.
yeah, they got some exclusive thing. That's why they couldn't do anything about it. Because I don't know why. I don't know why they made it exclusive to Canada. It's like
Right,
America
'cause
can't have it. Or they're probably trying to get some sort of like, they're trying to use it as like a Trojan horse to break into the American market. Like, we want Crave TV to make it to America and be on American packages, and like nobody's sending it. It's like, nah, we'll just steal it. We're good.
There's a lot of BBC stuff like that where it's because it's essentially their public broadcasting. It's all trial by committee. It's like, I think this would be popular in America. No, you just like one guy holds it up for years. Like, no, I don't think so. It's because like for years the only BBC shows you could get were stuff that was ported over to PBS and Doctor Who, and now you have BBC America, which is kind of cool sometimes, but then you realize, oh, they just basically redid Friends shot by shot with people with British accents. That's a weird show. It's like, why would they do that? I remember that storyline. Then they have a version of Seinfeld. There's some stuff on there, and then they do like great, like conspiracy murder mystery stuff, and the BBC really hates their government. I think that darkest. What was the thing I was watching a couple of weeks ago? It was basically like a conspiracy to spread some virus around Europe and kill a bunch of people, and it was kind of hinted. It was like a vaguely, what the fuck was that one called? Because it was part of a detective series show, but it was basically a swipe at like, well, this is going to be our immigration policy. We're just going to spread a disease, and we can wall off Europe from the rest of the Middle East. And the guy investigating, the investigator in the show was kind of like, yeah, that's not a bad idea, but no, we can't allow this to happen. It's like really ambiguous. Like, what are we doing? And then there's always some evil American industrialist in the background pulling the strings. Like that's the new bad guy. It's always some American industrialist. I'm trying to think what show that was. I can't remember.
Is Downton Abbey still going?
I
I never watched it at all. It like became a hot thing for a while there, and I'm like, it's over with, right?
I've watched it for like 4 years. I think it's over.
Yeah.
To watch it on my treadmill.
Summer
I think somebody will watch it.
Something
Paul
on Drive.
Giamatti like was on there once. I was like the only episode. I saw it was only 5 minutes of an episode I saw of Downton Abbey. It was Paul Giamatti was on there.
So how motivational is running on a treadmill to dry British drama, period wise?
It makes you concentrate on something other than what the boring shit you're doing. But I got rid of that treadmill, so fuck it. I got tired of that. It's like, I got other things to do. I'll just buy bigger furniture until my heart stops. But yeah, that was. I forget. Sometimes I watch things just because I enjoy something. I mean, Downton Abbey is a great like historical period piece about like what the world was before, concurrent with the First World War, but kind of before. It's like what was the world like at the beginning of the last century? It was like, oh, fucked up, but yeah, it's like there were rich people and then there was everyone else, and it's like, oh, I see, we're just running back to this like our asses are on fire. Yeah, just a bunch of poor people and misery and class. It's like you realize how useless that system was. It's like, why does this guy have all this shit? Oh, well, he's the second Earl of Globally-Gluck. It's like, oh, that's a stupid idea. And then you look and see what we're doing here. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, I can see the parallels. But yeah, it's not wildly entertaining, but it's well done and well acted and interesting. And available on PBS on demand.
Yeah, and they just on Netflix they just got the Vietnam War Ken Burns' Vietnam War is on there on Netflix
Yeah, that's a
now.
good one. I
So
watched.
now-
I want to watch it. Just want to watch it for the Nine Inch Nails soundtrack, but I haven't watched it yet.
It'll make you really realize why there were riots to stop that war. It's like, oh, this was fucking terrible. This was, and the thing is, how much of it was kept hidden and people didn't know about for so long. And it very much puts you in that time and that mind frame. I mean, it's Ken Burns. It's always going to be awesome. It's like, even if you're vaguely interested, because he did like a multi-part series on Prohibition. It's like, well, how interesting could this be? And I watched it, and like 4 hours later, it was like, that was pretty cool. I didn't realize, because we always think of Prohibition as like, well, there was a stupid idea by crazy religious fanatics that fucked the whole country up. And that's partly true. But it was also, I didn't realize how out of control alcoholism was in America at that time. It's like 10-year-old kids would be down in the mines and need their shot of whiskey because their back hurts. It's like, oh, this is fucked up. So instead of going after the 10-year-old kids working in a mine, they just eliminated the whiskey. It's like, oh, well, might have gone another direction there, but okay, at least you did something. But yeah, I had no idea how out of control alcoholism was, in this country. You can tell why that happens, because we just see that and we're like, well, that's ridiculous. Why would they do that? But we aren't living in a time. I mean, now everyone's dying from the shit that is illegal, and alcohol too. But yeah,
Well, I mean, they're also dying from fucking shit that gets shoved in their face legally too. I mean, as much as drinking was a problem for kids back then, so was smoking, so was gambling, so was fucking everything, because they had access to everything just like fucking adults did. And it's still that way in a lot of ways, because kids have access to fucking cell phones as early as their parents will let them. And so they're glued to a screen 24/7, sitting on their ass, killing themselves as quickly as they would if they were just fucking drinking and smoking at the age of 10. And they're not even as cool. Like, who gives a shit about
they're not looking as cool while they're doing it.
Yeah, they don't have the edge.
Well, it's like the whole thing about, because absinthe was still illegal in America up until like 5 or 6 years ago. And that was something that was outlawed during Prohibition and never brought back until very recently. They had I think it was a small section about that, and there was other high-proof spirits from like Poland and places that were being imported. And the reason they outlawed it here is people would just drink themselves to death, literally in like a span of hours. Just find somebody dead because they drank so much high potency alcohol mixed with herbs and stuff like that.
There's something today I read on Reddit that made me laugh, because it was like, yeah, the Great Fire in the whiskey refinery in Ireland in such and such year, and 13 people died. Nobody died from the fire or smoke inhalation or nothing falling on them. 13 people died from drinking too much whiskey that was flowing in the streets. It's like, Jesus
drank themselves to death.
It's like, goddamn.
Street whiskey.
Yeah, where the
God
horses,
has answered my prayers.
where the horses are pissing and shitting like it doesn't matter now. Yeah, you'd hear that story. You wouldn't think that would be like, oh no, those guys got trapped in the warehouse and burned to death. How horrible. Nah, these people just fucking drank themselves to death.
We ladle it from the streets.
Fucking, let's try to keep my cool. You know, fucking stay right next to somebody, and they're like, "Why are you laughing?" I'm like, "Oh no,
Death, human depravity."
Death in Ireland. Two things synonymous with fun. I don't know. Someday we should go there. We should do a Greed Factory Ireland tour. It only costs $3,000 to fly there, so we'll never be going.
per person." I'm assuming.
It's expensive.
I mean, no, there's there's travel packages you can get, like flying, like, the middle of winter where nobody wants to fucking be there. It's $175. Come to fucking Ireland.
That's when I want to be there. I want to walk around and talk about street whiskey. I want to know about this shit. I always hate that question. People have this weird connection with Irish roots. I was like, what's your name? Murphy's. Are you Irish? No, I was born in America. Do I have an accent? Do I know anything about the country? No, I'm an American, just like you. How could I be Irish? I wasn't born there. And from the stories I hear of the past, it was a good thing I wasn't. Street whiskey. That's lovely. Oh,
It doesn't
man.
beat Alley Gin though. Like,
She gives the best blowjobs.
Uh,
no, it's just fuck. Between like probably the best laugh still I had this weekend was fucking from Ant-Man and the Wasp. That movie's had pretty good fucking hilarious. It's that goddamn movie. And
I'm guessing this is pre Avengers.
yeah, it's pre-Avengers Infinity. It's pre-Avengers Infinity War until the post-credit scene. Then it catches it up with the
Okay.
end of Infinity War, or the first Infinity War movie. So it kind of
pretty good, huh?
yeah, I liked it.
Well, Paul Rudd's funny.
Oh yeah, it's just there's this fucking part in the movie where like the FBI guy that's like in charge of his case and shit is like telling him, you know, like, hey, you know, you're free to go. The investigation's over, and he was like, well, you said we were doing something after this. Like, I thought we were going to dinner or something. He's like, what? He's like, no, I mean, you kind of like pause, like, you know, we're going out to dinner after this, you know. And I was kind of thinking, like, why? Why are we doing this? And he's like, we're not doing that. It's like, we're not doing that at all. And then, like, they just kind of, like, walk away from each other a little bit. And then the FBI director guy's like, do you want to go out to dinner? it's like, and Paul Rudd's like, no, why would I want to do that? Like, actually good fucking writing as far as a comedic scene in a fucking superhero movie. So it's like, oh, okay, I wonder who actually kind of wrote this movie, because there were some parts of that movie I found a little bit disappointing, but in all, it was a good Ant-Man movie.
Well, I think what's interesting about like that and Doctor Strange is like both Ant-Man and Doctor Strange probably on the surface seem like the worst comic book characters. But
Yeah.
they are the most visually interesting of like all the comic book movies.
Yeah, there's a lot of visually stimulating things with like they carry a bunch of fucking like getaway cars and a Hot Wheel carrying case. And just like the microverse or whatever they call it, I can't.
Yeah.
It's like a quantum realm or something like that. That was interesting, and they have a lot of fucking cool ideas with that. And I almost wonder like where they. I'm sure they pulled it from actual canon stuff, like in the Marvel universe, like the enemy and other people they were facing and shit. 'Cause I'm sure there's like some video about like what you didn't know about this movie and
Yeah.
who these people are. But it was just kind of like, oh, this is nice. You know, it's I don't know. It's the only part I didn't like about the movie was the opening, but I know it was just kind of. I don't know how long the Ant-Man movie's been out since like all this other shit's happened. So I think it was kind of a refresher
Okay.
as far as what was going on and where everybody was at. But other than that, it was a good movie. And I almost wanted to go see Solo this week, but I didn't do that.
I saw Tag.
Really?
Yeah. It was like, well, it was like me and Matt were gonna go see a movie, and like that was the only one like basically we could get to quick enough so he wouldn't fall asleep.
Oh, how was that?
Not good.
Yeah, because
Well, it's one of those movies that say like it's not good, but it's okay. It's like, aren't those contradictory? It's like, you know what I mean.
well, just like after I saw like the trailer for it, it's like it's based off a real life set of friends. I'm like, yeah, this isn't really gonna be. At first, I was like, oh, this seems like a really weak premise, and I don't know who the hell thought of this. Oh, it's a real life story, huh? Oh, this is gonna suck. Like, so.
Well, at the end, they do show like stunts they pulled off in real life. Where like, you know, a guy's at a basketball game and the guy's dressed as a mascot and he comes up to it's like, hey, you're it. So yeah, I don't know, that it's probably the most interesting thing about the movie is like some of the action they did in the movie was actually kind of good. Like there's a part where fucking what's his face?
Jeremy Renner.
No,
The guy that plays.
he's like in The Office and all that shit.
Not Ed Helms.
Yeah, Ed Helms.
Okay.
He was like dressed up as an old lady with a cane, and he was trying to catch Jeremy Renner. And there's a part where like Jeremy Renner catches onto it and like you know, ends up knocking Ed Helms on his ass and then like kind of blocking him with the walker while he's just sitting on top of it. He's like crouched on top of it, and like his arms are underneath the walker so that he can't tag him, but he's just like crouched on top of the walker and like talking to him. It was like, that was kind of cool. That's an interesting framing of the scene and an interesting use of action, and that was probably the best thing in the movie. It's like slightly funny, it's all ridiculous, it doesn't really make any lick of sense really. There was an interesting kind of character, actually lack of character development that seemed interesting, where it's like, okay, they spent like 20 years and they've never tagged this guy, and then like as they're getting closer to kind of like, hey, maybe we'll finally tag this guy, they realize they don't know him at all. And then at the end of the movie, they don't like reconcile that. It's like, all right, well, the game continues.
No, it's just one of those movies where my wife wanted, what the movie Father Figure is, or Father Figures, or whatever.
No.
Another Ed Helms, Owen Wilson movie. It has like a bunch of weird fucking celebrity guest stars in it, like fucking old quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And fucking like a commentator on NFL.
Oh, okay.
Terry Bradshaw.
Yeah, Terry. Yeah.
And fucking like he's in it as a possible father figure to a bunch of other old actors and shit. And it's like this movie where they just try and find their father that their mother never told them about. But it just looks like the most awful by the book comedy you can ever write. And my wife was like, "This looks funny." I'm like, "No." Like, that looks horrible. Put it back. And then she was like, "What about Cockblockers?" I'm like, "That looked horrible, but got good ratings." like, I don't know what to say about that movie. Like, I kind of wanted to rent it just to see what the fuck what it was about. But at the same time, like, how many good comedies has there been with WWE superstars? Because I can't really think of any.
I mean, well, it depends, like real movies or WWE movies. Because if it's any WWE produced movies, it's 0 for anything likable.
Yeah, I'd say real movies somewhat close. I mean, The Rock has a few.
Yeah, Rock. I mean, like The Rundown's kind of a comedy. That's a
Yeah.
good movie.
And it's kind of sad that's the only good one he's kind of.
And then I didn't see the Jumanji one. That's kind of a comedy, right?
Yeah.
You saw it?
Yeah.
Okay, I've heard people like it. I've heard people not like it, so I didn't.
I hated
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if it was because I was more fond of the first movie or because I got tired of the shitty, no-try, crappy jokes. And I really dislike Kevin Hart. I think he is very unfunny and he's very annoying as shit. So I think that might have tried.
I don't disagree with you, but
like
there's something like the comedy he does is like high energy, and like that's something like it's a snobbery reaction I have when I think when somebody's like a high energy comic, I think they're like covering up for bad jokes. Like,
Yeah.
I'm replacing energy where I have not written a good joke.
Well, okay, let's be honest here.
Well, I don't like, yeah, that's my snobbery. I don't think he's actually unfunny. I just haven't really given him a chance.
Okay, Eddie Murphy in the late 80s and early 90s, and then he got unpopular, so Martin Lawrence took that same fucking role, and now it's Kevin Hart's turn. when Martin
Only
Lawrence-
one black man at a time.
It's not so much that, but
And
they're
then
the
it was Dave,
Playing the scepter.
and then Dave Chappelle.
I like Dave Chappelle though. He's actually fucking funny. Like he does.
Have you seen his latest stand-up routines?
or
It's
the-
like he doesn't even do comedy anymore.
the first one, the first half of
The first two he did were like all right, and then he has another two, but I didn't
haven't
even
seen
bother
those.
watching them because I
haven't
was
seen
like,
those yet.
it's like, oh yeah, here's Dave Chappelle on Fox News.
But it just seems like the same fucking character, except just played by 3 different goddamn people. Kevin Hart, it's just like any other bad comedian that always plays the same fucking role. God, what's his name in Good Luck Chuck and shit like that? I can't think of his name. Spiky hair, kind of really popular in like the early 2000s.
Oh, Dane Cook?
Yeah, Dane Cook.
Yeah.
Always plays the same goddamn role in every comedy.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to say it's the comedian's fault, but at the same time, they're not chasing that role.
I don't know. I mean, like Jack Black has like he's been cast that way like forever, but he occasionally does a good movie.
Yeah, and that's what troubles me because I know he's.
Let's have Jack Black and Kevin Hart in the same movie.
Jack Black's character wasn't bad, but Jack Black was still playing Jack Black.
Well, he got to be kind of interesting in that movie because he's like supposed to be a woman, right? Like his
a woman
he's
trapped in a man's body.
avatar
so
man body.
There's one part where like one of the Jonas brothers is fucking one of the people they're trapped with, and so he's like, "Oh, he's cute," and then he looks down at his pants. What's that? And it's like, that's a erection. Oh, and then it's like that was a decent joke, but like the easiest joke you could have possibly made. And the rest of that movie is like literally horrible villain, horrible fucking plot, and just the laziest goddamn writing. And it just, The Rock is in a lot of vehicles anymore. I know he's really popular and he's in a lot of franchises, but
Yeah.
Rampage, Jumanji, fucking San Andreas, half the shit he's done recently is just
Yeah, it's got, and that fucking Skyscraper's coming out.
Yep. Next Friday, we're gonna go see it on midnight. Come on.
Tell me what it's like.
Let's give The Rock some money. Let's see this one-legged John McClane take on a Dubai thing.
Yeah, is that based off something, or is it just fucking...
Well, I mean, you said it was like so
It
much
seems
like the Towering Inferno.
almost,
Yeah.
but in a different country. And
But also, it's like a skyscraper with terrace in it, so that's obviously Die Hard comparisons.
Yeah. And it's in China or something.
Yeah.
Weird.
But yeah.
Because we know what audience they're aiming that
Well,
one
also
at.
that, I mean, yeah, well, it makes sense in a lot of ways. In the real world, that's where they're building fucking skyscrapers and shit like that.
Yeah.
And then it also makes sense that, like, okay, we just do the production there, and then what would cost us $150 million to do this movie now it costs us $125 million to do this movie.
If only The Rock didn't want $80 million of that. Like,
Yeah, I know he's like the highest paid actor, but I'm not sure if that's per movie or just because he does so many fucking movies, he's the highest paid actor.
Yeah, it's like he made $180 million last year. It's like, how much did they pay him? Well, he did $25 million. Break that down. It's like $10, $15 million.
Oh yeah, I forgot about one of the worst ones, Baywatch. That was pretty...
Was that one of those obvious comedies that didn't work out?
yeah, there's not very good jokes in that movie either, and it's very bad.
It's like let's follow the 21 Jump Street formula, which only worked for 21 Jump Street.
Let's substitute two funny people for two people that don't have any comedic talent. Like Central Intelligence, that was really goddamn bad. That was Kevin Smith and The Rock again.
I mean, Kevin Hart.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah.
I'll watch Kevin Smith and The Rock.
That'd be great.
The muscles and toes.
I know
No,
Kevin
not-
Smith's like as skinny as a rake.
No, yeah,
now
now
he's just he's just flab without fat.
Yeah.
He's the flapping beanie.
There was one phrase that Kevin Smith keeps saying in Another Wolf Cop, where apparently there's like this guy that comes to town trying to save the town by opening a new brewery / ice arena, and he has this thing called Rooster Milk as the new fucking beer in town. So Kevin Smith, like half the movie, just like slam a cold cock and then just fucking like downs a beer, and he's like, "That's their slogan. I came up with it." And it's like, okay, but no. There's a lot of fucking bad movies The Rock has put out, and I'm sure John Cena with the Bumblebee movie and Cock Blockers and fucking about everything he's been in so far will definitely follow
There's
in
a
his footsteps.
Bumblebee movie coming out?
Yeah. It actually looks vaguely interesting. It looks way more interesting than any of the other Transformer movies.
Okay.
Because it seems like lower key. It's in the 80s, and it's
Okay.
like old Bumblebee, so he's like actually like a Beetle. He's not like the
Oh.
new Camaro or anything like
Oh,
that.
no product tie-ins with this one.
It
huh?
almost looks like what if E.T. was a transforming beetle.
Yes.
Like that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from it. But at the
I
same
forget. Well, like the director of this, he did that movie Kubo and the Two Strings.
Oh really?
So I have a bit more hope.
I know, but at the same
It
time,
also looks like that it's like way. It's not like a Transformers movie. It looks like they spent like way less on this.
But at the same time, I think the only reason it seems more interesting and less cluttered is because they took almost all of the Transformers.
Yes.
It looks like there's Starscream and then fucking Bumblebee, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Which is
That
fine.
seems like the right fucking idea, considering that every fucking Transformer movie is bad. Entertaining, but terrible.
The last one I watched was when they attacked Chicago.
That was the third one.
So yeah, it's been a while for me on Transformers.
Second one's atrocious.
That's the movie I was hoping was real. I hope Chicago was burned to the, burned to the ground and everything.
Where are we gonna watch NXT?
No, Chicago's not that bad. But yeah,
No, we weren't even really near it. But, or, well,
No,
I mean,
I
we were
know.
near it. We were near the airport. I don't know. Yeah, you get downtown, Chicago can get bad, but you know.
Just the traffic is terrible.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's at every major city, but
Traffic and gunfire.
yeah.
gunfire in traffic. No, I was expected you and Matt to go to like Sicario 2 or fucking.
No, because like Tag was the new thing that came out that week, so that was just like because I wanted to see other movies, but it's like he had seen everything already. Incredibles 2 had came out, but he had already seen Incredibles, of course. So it's like, and then I was like, the only one was like, well, I'll see Deadpool 2 because I haven't seen that yet. He's like, all right, he'd already seen it. It's like, all right, I guess we'll just go see
You can see
Tag.
that movie again. Deadpool 2 is a good fucking movie.
Okay.
I'd see it again.
Well,
Yeah, I wanted to watch Sicario. I read some interesting reviews about it. They're like, not as good as the first one. Kind of a cold-blooded and heartless movie, and I'm like, well, fuck. If if this is more Sicario, this might be for me. I don't know. I mean, the guy killed a whole fucking family in that last movie. It's like, oh, and this is the cold-blooded version. Okay,
Because he kills the dog this time.
he shoots the dog.
he bump fires and kills a lawyer with a
Yeah.
with a Beretta
Why he did that, I don't know.
because it looked cool.
Just break him down with.
No, I kind of want to see the second Sicario movie because I think I'd like it more than the first.
But there's not a whole lot of like, except for like Deadpool, there's not a whole lot of, like rated R action movies that come out very often. So like,
No, I mean even what are they, Man of the Lost PG-13.
yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect that to be R anyway, but at the same time, yeah, like Han Solo is PG-13, or I'm sorry, Solo is PG-13.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, everything's PG-13. Like, Deadpool gets away with it because it started out as a rated R movie and became the highest grossing rated R movie of all time. So it gets to be, continue to be a rated R movie.
Well, I've been working steadily on the Millennium Falcon this week. I can't.
Have you made it to bag 2?
The assembly's done.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm just painting weather. Can't lift the whole thing up because it's too big. But this is the rear engine section. See all the insane. There's like 50 parts that were glued on there, and this is just like my stage 1 pass on the paint and weather. So
And by
I'm
bag,
about $500 into this model, so we'll see where this goes.
Yeah, I watched that, something on Tested, and I forget what they call them, like cribbles or something like that. It's like this piece that's on basically it's a versatile piece. It's just basically a circle with some dots on the end of it, and it's like on every like model making kit that like kit bash together. When you kit bash something for sci-fi, it'd be like on every piece.
Yeah, it'd be
And it, like it, and then he showed like the original like kit it came from.
yeah, looks like shit like that.
Kind of. It's not exactly like that, but
Yeah, there's a tinier version of it here. I know what he's talking about.
but it comes from it was a Japanese model of like a German railroad artillery cannon.
Okay.
And it had like these 14 little pieces of it, just kind of circles that have like little dots on the end.
Yeah.
And then there's like they make like he has like, and he says like, oh yeah, it's in my closet. There's just like a fucking box of those things. We use them on everything.
Yep. Oh yeah, you can tell on this model because they copied it exactly from the studio model. It's like, yep, there's a transmission. There's the other side of the transmission bell housing. Here's the top of a Panzer tank. You can tell all the stuff. It's been downscaled for this model because that studio model like took 5 guys to move and shit.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's like a 1/25th scale. Like they took parts from like a full-size kit and bashed them together for the movie. This is just a reproduction of those. But yeah, you can tell exactly what they are. If you build enough models, you're like, yeah, I know what that part is. I know what that part is. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been obsessively doing all week. So I'm on my 2-week shutdown. So
Well, I went on another wrestling dark rabbit hole of indie wrestling.
oh, that's got to be a happy story.
Eventually,
Well-
eventually, you're just gonna find a snuff film buried.
I actually didn't go to like. Well, I went to one thing. I found well, because like there's so there's this guy. He's named Dave Meltzer. He's kind of considered like the connoisseur of like kind of writing on wrestling and rating and stuff like that.
Okay.
Because I've heard people talk about like, oh, Dave Meltzer gave this match 5 stars, and that's like, and I was like, well, who the fuck is that, and why does that matter? It's like, is this out of 5 stars? Because like he's given like matches like 7 stars, and it's only a 5-star system. He gives negative stars too.
Okay.
He
I can understand.
he seems to just like gone off the rails because it's like out of the like 10,000s of matches that WWE has been on, he's only given 9 of their matches 5 stars. And in the last couple of years, like this year alone, he's given 3 NXT matches 5 stars. And then he gave this one match. It was a New Japan Pro Wrestling 7 stars. I went and watched it on Daily Motion. It was like, okay, this is supposed to be the greatest wrestling match ever. It wasn't. It was still a good match, but I also didn't understand any of the storyline that was going on there.
Oh, okay.
I vaguely knew who one guy was, and someone was like, I heard someone explain it like, oh no, this is actually like a 5-year-long arc of story build-up, and it's culminating in this one match. It's like, oh, okay.
You were like watching the action sequence from a long movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
The crowd in Japan is really interesting. They're like more polite and not as rowdy as American audiences.
Right.
So like they don't like when somebody pulls off a big move, they're not like chanting like yeah or whatever. They're just like oh.
Not like jumping up like kill him.
Although there's a move that Kenny Omega does. I think it's just called what's it called? The V trigger, which is like a reference to a fighting game. But it's something like he'll run up and just knee the guy in the face. And but like the crowd, when he like kind of revs up to do it, the crowd will start doing like the Terminator 2 like pound like
Oh. Okay.
but it's like the whole crowd doing it. Actually, no, man, I got that wrong. I think that's when he goes and dives outside. When somebody's outside the ring, he'll dive over the ring and hit somebody. That's when they do it, I think.
It's called the I'll Be Back.
Which they have so at WWE they have so you have the ring and then you kind of have like this buffer around the ring. It's kind of like a 5-foot buffer around the ring so they can like fall out and like they pad the outside of that and they have walls that are padded there too.
Yeah.
So they can throw people in the walls and stuff. So in Japan, it's just a fucking metal gate on the outside.
Not as much room.
No. Also, like, so it was a New Japan Pro Wrestling match, and they're kind of like considered like, I've heard people like basically talk to them on par with WWE, but like kind of the production that's going on is very limited. It basically looks like something out of the 80s. It's not even like high definition camera or anything like that. Well, it probably is. It just looks weird because it's some different broadcast standard. But yeah, no, they don't like put on the production that WWE does. Because like on the fucking ring post, they have like LCD screens on the ring post now.
Okay.
Like, they don't have. It's just a fucking ring. There's nothing flashy about it. Like there might be an advertisement on the ring apron, but that's about it.
Huh.
And like they don't like spray lights on the crowd either, and like go looking in the crowd for signs and stuff like that. No, they just like present the match, maybe like 3 different camera angles, maybe 2 guys walking around. That's it. It's like very bare bones.
Huh.
So yeah, so I went through like looking at this guy's Dave Meltzer's like, okay, what does he consider like the best matches of all time? So you want to look for like 5-star matches. So I looked for that one. That was a 7-star match, and I started looking for other ones, and I found this thing. It was called PWG, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla.
Okay.
And then like there was a bunch of matches every year that get 5 stars. I'm like, well, what the fuck is this thing? And it's like it's some indie organization in California, made and run by wrestlers. And like so I was showing Andrew some of it, and it's just at a fucking Legion Hall in California.
Okay.
There's, like they fit like 400 people in there, and it's like so. This one, it's like Battle for Los Angeles, and this is just night 2. They sell a DVD. This is $20. There's these 3 different DVDs for $20.
Okay.
I mean, it's a 3-hour show each DVD, so you get your money's worth. And, like, they're really good shows. And it's like all the wrestlers kind of up and coming that just like just do a fucking circuit around America and all over the place and like hit all these different shows, and there's just one they do. And like the spacing, like, so sometimes I do shit where they go outside the ring, but like they're so condensed in there that like the person in the front row is a foot away from the ring.
Oh wow.
So oftentimes they're like flying out into the fucking audience doing shit, and the audience is like backing up.
Sign those release forms.
Yeah. Well, it looks like now like the Legion Hall is like no longer owned by the Legion. Somebody else bought it, so they won't be doing shows there anymore. They actually have a bigger venue now that they'll be doing it at. So.
Oh, okay.
It's more of a theater, so now it has like, it has like those terraces of people, or like little oval where people sit. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So yeah, it's only a matter of time for somebody jumps off of that to do some crazy move.
Yeah, multi-tiered theater seating. Yeah.
But yeah, so Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, like they do a lot of comedy stuff. So they don't really like. I mean, they still do like kind of build storylines and things like that, but it's not so seriously, and everybody's swearing and everything of that. It's not like you're not trying to make it for kids. The commentary is all weird and full of swears and stuff like that. There's one part, there's these 2 brothers, they're called the Young Bucks, and there's a part where like they had a 3rd guy on their team named Adam Cole. There was something where like the Young Bucks would come up and kiss him on the cheeks just for some reason. And then there's a part in the match where like he's like, "Hey, kiss me on the cheeks," and they come up and the one guy like pulls his head down so they kiss each other. And then on the commentary, it's like that's incest. That's illegal.
Just in all seriousness.
Yeah.
Oh my God, folks.
And then there'd also be stuff where like people do like the other person's like signature move and stuff like that, or he'll do like some WWE move and like so it's like it's very like just all played for fun.
Yeah.
It seems very
deep.
Yeah, very deep inside humor too. So. I mean, there's only, and like, the crowd is totally involved because they're a foot away from the fucking ring and there's like 400 people in there, so.
Yeah, you're basically in the match at that point.
Then I got like the best of Kevin Steen, which they call Not Another Steen DVD, which I think is supposed to be like Not Another Teen Movie, because they have a bunch of stuff where it's like riffing on like stupid puns like that. Because there's a guy named Adam Cole, and one of their DVDs like features him, and it's called Head Like a Coal.
They were like doing porn riffs.
Yeah. And then this guy's name's Kevin Steen. It's one of them is Steen Wolf.
Okay.
But yeah, this has the stuff you want to hear. I was telling about ladder matches and stuff. And you're like, oh, they just get these matches from the hardware store. I was like, no, they're special made because nobody makes ladder with the 2 things. So in this match, they just fucking bought ladders from the hardware store and were hitting each other with them, and it looks terrifying. Because you get to see what happens when you throw a 260-pound man onto a ladder that is meant for handiwork. And it has a weird spring to it, and it does fucking break. It'll break, and then it'll try to spring back into shape, but then it's like it's got a broken leg and shit.
Oh, yeah. That's the classic.
And there's some like hardcore matches that they have on here where like, they fucking bring out the tacks, they have barbed wire, chairs, all that shit. So I think that's the stuff you're trying to look for. Although that's not, they do a combination of stuff. That's not all they do. The one, if you really want just really stupid with like razor wire, tacks, glass tubes, that's another wrestling called Combat Zone Wrestling.
Okay.
It's basically just blood and fucking like, it's like gladiator combat for your entertainment. I watched one clip on YouTube and it's like they perform this match that looks like they're about to end their lives in front of like maybe 60 people.
Yes. Let me look at this.
But that was like a match from like the early '90s.
Yeah.
Because I found out, so like a lot of these organizations, like they popped up like when when ECW went under. So that was Extreme Championship Wrestling.
Yeah.
So they did like, they popularized a lot of that, chair shots, ladder matches through tables, all that crazy shit. Like they kind of popularized that. They were like really indie at the time. And like, burn bright, burn fast. They just ran out of money and they couldn't keep it going. And eventually WWE bought their whole tape library and all that shit. But like, so when they went under, like just all these groups just kind of like popped up. So like Pro Wrestling Guerrilla popped up, Combat Zone Wrestling. They might have actually been before, because like I think it said Combat Zone Wrestling popped up in '98 and ECW went under in like 2002 or something.
Okay.
There's another one that's called Chikara, which it's in Philadelphia, but they do like luchador wrestling, but their name is like Japanese. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
all over the place. Yeah, there's just a lot of these like independent. So I think you got Ring of Honor. That's probably the second biggest one in America, next to WWE. They've been around for a while. A lot of people come through there. There's Ohio Valley Wrestling that used to be WWE's developmental league, and then it moved to Florida Championship Wrestling, and then they changed their name to what's now NXT.
Oh, okay.
And NXT just opened up a second branch in London,
Huh.
which I guess makes somewhat sense because a lot of the talent they've been bringing through is from like all around the world. So it's probably easier just to bring them through London than to make them go to fucking Florida.
Yeah. I can see that. Yeah, I'm watching some of these Combat Zone Wrestling clips. It's like a bunch of guys, like 50 guys in a weird like gymnasium, and they got like light bulbs, like those long line light bulbs, those fluorescent bulbs, like taped to a table, and they're throwing people on top of it, and someone's getting choked with barbed wire. It's like, oh, this is crazy.
For your entertainment.
Yeah, we're here to believe. And one of the guys looks like he's fatter than me. It's like, whoa, this can't be easy. Ugh. Yeah, that's an interesting form of entertainment.
But I think Pro Wrestling Guerrilla kind of hits the sweet spot. They are a lot of humor, a lot of great high flying action inside a very small area.
Yeah, definitely.
I think they have a good sense of humor, and it's basically for adults, so they're not playing to kids or anything like that.
Right, right.
Tons of swearing. There's one, right? It's basically a guy did a magic trick. It looked like he broke the guy's fucking finger. Or at least it sounded like it, and the other guy like made it look like he was trying to put his finger back in the socket. Or maybe that guy can just pop his finger out of the socket. But it was like fucking cringe-inducing.
Guy's like looking scared, like.
Because you hear him go, oh, fuck it, and you hear this, and then the guy's like, oh, because he just has the one finger grabbed. It's like, what the fuck just happened?
Oh, that's terrific. Oh man.
But yeah, like a lot of people on this DV, like half the people on this DV, this is from 2016, half of them are on NXT right now, so they're like under different names there.
Except for Ricochet.
Yeah, Ricochet was just a Ricochet. But there's one guy who's named Aleister Black. He's the current NXT champion. His name's Tommy End. Tommaso Ciampa was just Tommaso Ciampa. There's Chris Hero. He's known as Cassius Ohno in NXT.
Okay.
Which is, yeah, it's weird. Well, what's funny, I was checking out old NXTs, and he was like one of the original lineups when they started getting like to the NXT takeover stuff, because before they started doing that stuff it was like a weird like reality show thing.
Okay.
Kind of stupid, but then they made it more of a legitimate like thing.
Yeah.
So he's like featured pretty heavily, and he's like svelte and stuff, but they let him go at some point because he gained like 50 pounds. So like here he's like he's like 50 pounds overweight, but still like fucking putting on moves, like doing shit that doesn't look like he should be able to do that, like popping up like doing that kip up thing where you flip your legs and just without touching your hands on the ground, you can just flip onto your feet, doing shit like that.
Yeah, it's not something a guy with an extra 50 to 70 pounds should be able to do. But
Yeah.
he can't.
As Adam Cole on here before he went to, but like all these guys here, they run around basically all of America, because like half these guys are in Ring of Honor and PWG and like other places like all at the same time, because I guess that's just the game. It's like doing stand up, like when you go on the road, like that's kind of
Yeah.
like what this stuff is.
Just a circuit,
Yeah.
different contracts with different people.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Have to keep me posted on that. So, did you see season 2 of Goliath yet? I haven't started.
Yeah.
What'd you think? I heard some real mixed bag reviews on it, like nice and dark, good and weird.
Well,
But-
I mean, it's the same thing with I don't know. It's kind of the same way with the first season. It's like, this is a bad show that's entertaining because Billy Bob Thornton's really fucking good. So it's kind of the same thing here, except
Yeah.
here it gets way fucking weirder, and it's almost not even a courtroom drama anymore. It's kind of like, hey, we like that thing you did with the Fargo TV show. Like, let's just do that with this show.
Oh, okay.
There's a guy who has a fetish for amputees. That gets all weird and dark at the end.
Yeah, because how'd somebody describe it? Like, they said Billy Bob Thornton, stump sex, abuse, sex, a lot of weird sex stuff in it, and just a dark ending.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what they described it as.
There's one episode that's like kind of brilliant where it's like the episode before, like something bad happens and he just grabs a bottle of booze and walks off. And then the next episode is like almost like an episode of Lost, where it's like, is he in purgatory? What's going on? It's like they give you no information. He's just suddenly in a place. People are barely paying attention to him, but they won't let him leave. And it's almost ethereal and like what the fuck's going on. And it became the second mention that week I watched it of like somebody from Cedar Rapids in a TV show. Because like somebody, like he goes up to this one girl and he's like, you look like you're somebody from Grand Rapids, Michigan. And she's like, no, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And then there was in The Expanse, there was like that one good guy that came up to the parishioner and she's like, where are you from? He's like, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And then he shoots himself in the head. It's like, Cedar Rapids getting plenty of bad representation in movies. It's like, oh, make him from Iowa. It's like, what's the place in Iowa? Like Des Moines. It's like, nobody will understand it. How about Cedar Rapids? Good.
That'll work.
I heard there was a Cedar Rapids reference in Lost at one point. Cedar Rapids gets mentioned a lot in like television. It must be on some weird Wikipedia. When someone's searching for Iowa, it comes up on a Wikipedia, and like somebody thinks like it's the like not too obvious solution to make somebody from Iowa is make them from Cedar Rapids.
Yeah, because isn't that the second largest city in Iowa?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Ann Arbor comes up a lot too. That was all over Lost because the whole Dharma Initiative was the University of Michigan.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that was. I hear a lot about Ann Arbor. Never hear anything about Ypsilanti except the jazz sequence called "Girl from Ypsilanti." Used in everything.
No, there was a Ypsilanti reference in Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was like an episode with Santa Claus. Yeah.
It makes a heart right and pokes. Because that's where all you'll get Ypsilanti. Anyone who went to U of M, that's where you go to get drunk cheap, and there's not a lot of police around, so you can basically just freeze to death if you want to in Michigan in the winter if you're a college kid.
Technically, if you really want to get technical about it, you can call the whole movie Red Dawn a huge love story of the University of Michigan. They all keep saying Wolverines all the time, so
That is true.
I mean, they don't hold up any blue and yellow flag, but they're always complaining about Wolverines.
Yep. That's a weird mascot.
Yeah.
You ever seen one of those in real life?
Wolverine? Not in
Yeah.
real life, no.
See, I've seen one at a zoo and one on TV, and they're fucking scary. Well, they're just a badger that'll kill you. I mean, they're just. It looks like that thing could just climb up you and kill you, no problem. Because they're just a giant badger. They're friendly though. The
It's
one
like
guy
a
had.
Komodo dragon with hair.
Yeah, pretty much. That's how they move too. They have that weird. They're an animal with a weird gait, because they have arms and legs, but they move along the ground like they're on all fours. But then they can climb trees and shit too, and stand up. And it's like, oh, that's really strange. Like a bear.
How fast can they run?
Pretty fast.
Okay. Well, because when Colin's like Komodo dragon with fur, I'm like, well, they can run pretty fast too. But
I don't think they can run as fast as a Komodo dragon because their joints are actually articulated more, but they can run pretty fast. I don't even know if there's any in Michigan anymore. I think there's something else we killed them. It's like, that looks scary. Shoot it. Or it's lives someplace up north with all the wolves and elk and every other scary thing that's up there.
maybe.
Prisons.
I mean, it's not like. I mean, what the fuck's a Hawkeye around here anyway for the Iowa Hawkeyes? It's just a fucking hawk.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the only thing I can think of. Because otherwise, Ohio State Buckeyes, well, Buckeyes is like a fucking seed off of a tree.
Yeah.
So like,
No, it's a delicious candy made out of peanut butter and chocolate.
So I mean, otherwise, like obviously Iowa State Cyclones. Like, when the fuck has there been a cyclone? Like, I thought a cyclone basically never happened in the Midwest. It's all fucking tornadoes and.
Yeah,
Right.
but it evokes a tornado. I mean, Iowa State's tornadoes probably didn't sound so great.
And the Uni Panthers, there's never obviously been a Panther population in northern Iowa.
Nah,
that
but
I'm
you know,
aware of.
college. I mean, how many college teams are called Wildcats? There's like fucking 60 of them.
True.
But like, what's Stanford? It's just a tree, right?
Yeah. It's
But what are they called? Are they the Stanford trees, or is it
I
like
thought it was like the Stanford Red or something.
right? Okay.
The rich kids is what they're called.
Oh, there was some. I can't tell if it was like a fucking fake news story today or whatever. It's like these.
Probably.
Well, no, I'm sure it was, but it's like these graduate students at like Brown University were going on a hunger strike, but they were allowing themselves to eat if they got hungry.
About right.
Like, yeah, that's exactly what a hunger strike is. Like, yes, we were protesting no food, but we're gonna eat what we got.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of there's like stipulations to Guinness Book of World Records things. So there's you know, the longest whatever. So it's like, you know, so I think Dan from Giant Bomb, he held some record for playing Mario Brothers for the longest, and he played Mario Brothers for like 3 days or some shit like that. But like, you don't actually have to like be up 72 hours. They allow you to like get like little short naps like in between playing the game or whatever. It's like, well, that seems like bullshit.
I could do that. I like the ones, there's like 10 or 15 things they won't accept submissions for anymore. And holding your breath underwater is number one. Because so many people were dying. Because there are people who are like ridiculous, like 15 minutes. Or like, how the fuck did you achieve that?
I'm just
But
gonna.
they find out some weird thing, like they're like a med student who knows doctors, and they just like get pure oxygen and just hyperventilate pure oxygen for 20 minutes. It's like, oh well, yeah, and don't move. That seems pretty plausible. And they-
Okay, I have a great idea. Let's right now on the podcast come up with the next 10 ideas the Guinness Book of World Records will ban for people trying to attempt.
most grenades swallowed.
Most razors shoved up my pee hole.
um,
Most razors shoved down my peel.
longest lasting erection.
Number of poisonous snakes kissed. Like, just-
How many bullets
number of
can you
cattle
eat?
killed with only a flamethrower at one time.
number of times ejaculated while strangling myself in a row.
Number of Guinness Book World Record journalists I've murdered.
After his 30-minute long interview. It has to be something else. They can't just...
Longest autoerotic asphyxia session ever recorded.
The most kids ever kidnapped in one van. something really.
Most mice ever consumed alive. Just really dark Guinness Book of World Record story.
Most flies in an open eyeball.
Most needles shoved into a human body.
The most times the most consecutive times of breaking up with someone using the excuse, "It's not you, it's me." See if you can do
Just
that.
at a speed dating convention.
Longest turd.
Most fucks not given. No, I can't
Most
believe.
irrelevant person.
Didn't that have? That had a fucking TV show at some point, didn't it? Like Guinness Book of World Records for like at least a
Yeah,
season.
well, I think they had Ripley's Believe It or Not, but that's the other.
Oh yeah, that was
records
like Dean
book.
Cain.
Well, it's like that was like back in the 70s. It's been kind of rebooted like several different times. I think Ripley's Believe It or Not was back in the 70s or something.
I think so.
I mean, like the TV show, but I don't know how long the like book or whatever has been around.
I learned that the wealthiest pastor today lives in Africa and net worth of $150 million and 2 private jets and a $10 million home. And 45
$10 million home in Africa is like a castle anywhere else, isn't it?
Yeah, you think it may more or less might as well be its own country for $10 million, but apparently, like he has 45 different churches in different nations in Africa and all this other stuff. And it's like
I'm
God,
surprised he's not some good dude in America, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of surprised. Like, really, a pastor in Africa, huh? It's like I guess you really can get completely rich off poor people. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Combine your wealth into me.
That's been the game for, I don't know, a couple thousand years.
Well, I know, but there's always a new news story like every 6 months about some other fly-by-night pastor that wants a private jet that says God will give it to him and he pray hard enough.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about
Some
those guys.
bullshit.
This is what the Lord wants. It's like, really? That's the key to shit? Fuck, I've been playing the
I
wrong
can't
game.
spread this message of God through the internet instantaneously, so I need a jet to spread it faster.
And I need to spread my seed into every woman I meet. That's what God wants. It's like, wow, God is a horny fucking dude. Listen to you guys talk. I watch it. They have this series, I don't know, one of these true crime things, you know, stuff I watch for dinner. And there's been a cult craze about different wacko religious cults. And some of the stuff I hear, and it's like, who thought this was a good idea? To just go ahead and, yeah, let's hang our flag on this guy. This guy's going to show us the way. Like the dude who made people he circumcised all his bodyguards. Like himself without anesthesia. And these were full-grown adults. It's like, oh, okay. I'm not hanging my hat on this nail. There's no way. It's not going to happen.
I like the weird Russian cult that worships Gadget from Rescue Rangers.
What?
Perfect.
What the fuck are you talking about? What Gadget or Rescue Rangers? What the fuck? I remember that show vaguely, but I don't remember there being some like huge, big gadget that people should worship now or something.
No, it was a character. She was she was the mouse that made all the shit for them.
Is there also another cult that worships Smurfette?
Probably.
Like what other?
I'm not sure how like thriving this cult is. I just remember it existing and seeing pictures and being like, this has to be a ruse, and then like, no, this is people's lives.
Yep, it's real. Oh my God.
But Nathan, what you're saying is, I'm already circumcised. I cannot be that man's body.
Well, there's like pornography with this mouse girl in it too. Like as soon as I type that in, I get all kinds of shit. Third thing down is like this girl naked. She's a mouse, and it's like, what? Okay.
You know the hottest new thing is watching a girl chipmunk get stuffed to the gills with dick. Like, that's the new...
I must be getting old. Gadget Hackworth. Okay, can we not show me this? Can I just read about the cult?
Because like literally there was this Vox video I was watching the other day about these communal living not communal living communes, but these communes, everybody shares their wealth from different jobs and stuff like that. And they work X amount of hours in the commune every day and shit. And it's like in Washington D.C. and there's a couple people commenting like they don't need to do that. They can live much better in Washington D.C. by themselves. It's like the rent in fucking Washington D.C. is fucking horrible. Like I can't imagine living there without a fucking roommate. But it was like 8 people with kids and everything else. But the way they phrased it was, we have 4 part-time children. I'm like, because they're part-time adults otherwise. It's like, what? Like, really? And the kids are like fucking, maybe the oldest one's 12. And it's like, what the fuck are they doing? Yeah, maybe they take out the trash or help cook or some shit, but part-time children, that's really the fucking designation for these things? Like,
It can't be a full-time child.
and it's like,
I think these Russian guys are just having fun. It looks like they're having a good time.
I was like,
Now, however, the fucking pinup girl porn with that mouse chicken, it's kind of weird. But nothing should really surprise me anymore.
yeah, I mean, from watch an animated horse, animated character for some reason. You watch people step on things, and that's porn. You can watch fucking, I don't know, you can basically watch somebody fall into their deaths, and as long as they scream loud enough, somebody will probably come to it. So, it's not exactly what I would call a sane
Yeah,
system.
nothing surprises
Wires
me.
got crossed when growing up.
Yeah, something happened. There's some early trauma, childhood trauma am I witnessing play out here. Oh, God. There's some weird shit out there. It shouldn't surprise me, but still it kind of does.
I know I can only come to hummingbirds feeding on flowers in slow motion. And then at the end, there's a clown horn. And that's when I just go, "Ugh." I blame it on society. More or less that Saved by the Bell didn't get an extra season. That's what I blame it on.
That's why all this had to happen.
Why couldn't they finish the college years? What about the heartbreaking work years?
I want to see after Zach and Kelly's wedding. What happened to the honeymoon? What's going on?
Show us pictures.
Send nudes.
The nude. See naked people.
I wonder how much, like, by that point, because I remember that fucking thing, like, they had, like, was there, like, 2 seasons of the college years and
think.
shit? Because then, like, that ended with, like, a TV movie where they got married in Vegas and shit. It was a weird, like, I kind of vaguely remember that movie, and I thought it was good at the time, but I was just super into Saved by the Bell for no goddamn reason. Like,
Well,
at
I
that
mean, you
point,
grew up with it, so.
well, I know, but, like, at that point, like, how fucking horribly, like, let's just get this fucking shit over with.
Actually, the thing is, like,
By the bell, the paycheck.
it was like we really didn't grow up with it. It was like by the time, because like it started like the mid '80s or late '80s or something. So by the time we got to it, it was just on every day.
No, I know.
It was on reruns.
But what didn't NBC still put on like the college
Yeah,
years
yeah.
thing and movie and shit like that?
But that was like that's how much Saved by Bell you had. You had like all the reruns, and then the concurrent ones that were running like on Saturday mornings, and then that one to the college years. So you just have way too much Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
Saved by the Bell inundation.
Yeah.
Well, we watched a movie this week.
Yeah.
Watched a great comedy. Actually, called Eating Raoul.
Oh,
Actually, I started off.
I watched Schindler's List. I thought it was
Yeah, it's a great comedy. Changed my life. When this movie started, just like that intro about like Los Angeles is saturated with sex, and it's like is this a comedy? What is this supposed to be? And then it has that weird like I don't know what you'd call that, like that 30s comedy kitsch to it, like they're singing a song and there's sound effects, and it's like, what is this? And then everyone in this movie, except the 2 main characters who are just completely amoral, is a horror, just ridiculous sex freak, and everyone's a rapist too, men and women. It's weird some of the people that showed up in this movie, and I wasn't expecting Chakotay from
Yeah.
Recovery to be in here.
I also think like you hear the title Eating Raoul, And you like immediately like what I jumped to is like, okay, this is some bored rich couple that have done everything and now they're just gonna start eating people.
Yeah.
And then like they kill their first person. It's like I don't think that guy was named Raul, and they're not eating him.
Right.
And then you meet Raul. It's like, and then like they get in business with him. It's like, well, they're not eating Raul. It's like, what the fuck's this movie about? And that doesn't come into play until like the end of it. We'll get there, but
Yeah. But it's just a weird. I don't know how to describe this movie. It's because it's definitely what you call a black comedy.
yeah,
But it's got a light-handed tone to some real just heavy, weird shit, and everyone's just like a sex freak in this.
yeah.
Like
Also,
they're-
just like
Our
how
apartment's being taken over by swingers.
and like how they just like accidentally kill people and just like, and then like they'll cover them in a trash bag in a humorous way. You just see like feet coming out of a trash bag.
Yeah, it's really weird.
And then like they just, they just toss it down the garbage chute. It's like, well, done with that. It's like on to the next day. There's no contemplation that they just murdered a person. They do like steal the money out of their wallet. It's like, hey, we
Yeah.
made some good money. So that becomes their new business venture. Is like they're going to, because like they ended up at the sex party. So I can't remember for some reason. Oh no, they brought like a drunk over there or something.
Yeah.
And then they get like this dominatrix business card. And
Yeah.
then they go like interview her. It's like, how do you do this? And then she explains everything while she's like raising her child in her kitchen.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. Like, baby's there, and like, oh, my husband's not here, and it's like, what do you want to know? And yeah, it's really strange.
And so they figure like, okay, the way, because they want to open a restaurant, but he just lost his job because he's like he's like a wine connoisseur, but he basically just works at a fucking like liquor store.
Yeah, which was weird. Had a weird robbery scene in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, where the
Just
guy comes in and the owner of the store pulls out this enormous handgun, shoots the robber, and then they continue arguing as if somebody's not laying there dead on the floor.
And of course, the robber's black.
Of course, the robber's black. Yeah, it's 1983. So. Well, there's all kinds of racism in this movie.
Racism, sexism, all kinds.
Yeah, every rape humor, everything.
So yeah, they decide their business venture is like they're going to find sex perverts because they find out like, hey, sex perverts have a lot of money
Yeah.
just in their wallets. Like no checks, no credit cards. Like they always have money, wallets full of money, and they're gonna lure them to their apartments by putting an ad for dominatrix in the ad, and she's gonna like pretend to be the dominatrix, and he's like, well, I can't remember, was it like something Carl or whatever? I can't remember what his name was.
Yeah, it was a funny name.
Like Kinky Carl or something like that. And so they just bring him over. They put on a whole routine. Because whether like they're like worried about like, because they're trying to meet their clients' needs before they just murder them and take their money. So it's like one thing where they just had like Nazi flags and they're dressed up in Nazi uniforms, and her whole thing she's supposed to be like a Nazi spy or whatever, or not. She's not a Nazi spy, but she's being interrogated by a Nazi. And
Yeah.
it's fucking weird. Ed Begley Jr. shows up at one point, just some.
And a midget and his giant dog. But that sort of doesn't really extrapolate into anything.
And they keep killing people with a frying pan, and it's just like comical conk on the head, and they're immediately dead. And see
Yeah.
their wallet. And, I can't remember. How did they meet Raul? I can't remember.
Well, he has the flyers going around.
Oh right, and he
A
changed the locks.
locksmith that'll change your locks for a ridiculously low amount of money, but really he's a thief. He's just a burglar. And so, yeah, he gets into these people's houses and find out what's in there, what's worth money. And then he breaks in later because he's the one who put the locks in, so he has the keys. And at first he's trying to steal the wine and all the money, and these guys are killing people. And he's like going to go into business with them because he can sell the bodies to a dog food maker. Which is for like lots of money, like just
Yeah.
insane amounts of money for a human body. It's like,
Well, then
oh.
the most money he gets is when he steals their car and sells their car with a dead
Yeah.
person. So that's for the most money. But he like convinces like, no, like you give me the body and then you can take the money, and then like that's but then they find out like how much money he's making and how little money they're getting by comparison, and then they get kind of mad at him. But then she has like an affair. Well, like Raoul kind of rescues her from getting raped.
Yeah,
then,
she strangles Ed Begley Jr. to death with a chain, and then they end up having sex, because he blows marijuana smoke at her or something. I'm not sure.
Thai cigarette, I think that's what they called it or something.
Maybe I thought it was pot, but it could have been something.
Well, no, they just referred to it as like a Thai cigarette or something, a Thai something,
Oh,
or
Thai
Thai
stick?
stick. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll get you really high. I don't know if that'll make you horny though. Maybe in her case it does. Because there's a weird subtext where his wife is like way too hot for him.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, this is the lady that's.
But they also like weirdly have like no intimacy whatsoever, and they prefer it that way.
Yeah. In their marriage, it's like, well, we love each other. We've been married for a long time. But so anyway, yeah. So then the husband and Raoul try to kill each other in several different weird, contrived ways. And he hires the dominatrix to play a nun, a border control officer, and then there's different ways to either scare him away, or then she gives him pills so he can't get a Woody. But that doesn't work. And so then finally, when they make their big score and they go to the swinger party, and they throw, what does he throw into the?
It's like a lamp or something.
Yeah, it's like they basically kill like 30 people in a hot tub, comically, because they all just get really stiff and then just fall over. So it's everything in this movie. There's nothing serious about it, but and then they sell all these Rolls Royces and expensive cars, and then Raoul comes over to confront him because he's they're cutting in on his business of selling the cars and the bodies, and then they kill him and cook him up and eat him, and serve him to their real estate agent. And in the end, you have a picture of their restaurant. It says, like, basically that's like the American dream. It's like, murder as many people as you can.
There's
steal.
no repercussions whatsoever.
There's no police presence in this movie at all. It's like you can put ads in the paper. And it's like everyone who responds to this ad never seen again. Nah, it doesn't really mean anything. But yeah, this is definitely a weird kind of low-key, low-budget comedy. I could see why it was important at the time, but it's not one of these things. It's like, well, they'll never make a movie like this again.
Well, it seemed like it seemed to come out because there's a lot of people around that whole, Saturday Night Live and National Lampoon. Like this seemed to be kind of like a subsect of all that.
Yeah.
So they were like, let's make these edgy movies.
Let's not forget that the guy that wrote the screenplay was one of the main characters and the director of this.
Yeah.
Paul Bartel. I don't know any other movies that these people did.
Also, these characters made a brief appearance in Chopping Mall.
Is that just like a straight up horror movie?
Yeah, you imagine it'd be like a serial killer in a shopping mall, but it's actually just like robots running loose in a shopping mall, but it's called Chopping Mall because that's the better title. And the cover of the thing is like a head in a shopping bag being clutched by like a hand, and it has nothing to do with the actual movie. It's just a great poster. So like that
originally called Killbots.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, they have like a brief appearance in that where they just make some vague racial comment, and then that's like 15 seconds. Yeah, I didn't watch any extras or audio commentary for this, but I heard something like this movie's like really pieced together, like a lot of the film, like so there's things like leavings or whatever. So like if you didn't shoot, so if you're shooting a roll of film and you don't shoot all of it, there's like some film left over.
Yeah.
And so like you take all that together, that's what they shot this movie with. It was like all the leftover.
They were really just trying to cut costs, huh?
Yeah. And I think they made it over like 3 years or something like that. That's why if you like really look at it, like there's like a vignette of the kinks, like everything's like a different kind of vignette, and it's like you kind of see like how they pieced it all together that way.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's because that was like the largest cost of the movie. It was just the film, not necessarily anything else.
No. that Robert Beltran's one of his first roles.
Yeah.
It was just weird to see him because I only know that guy as Chakotay
Chakotay, yeah.
on Voyager, and it's like, oh, he did other things, but that's the only thing I know him from.
And he's like super young, and he was like in this weird like dark comedy role. And it's like this is Chakotay because he's so fucking serious and like well-meaning and Voyager.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he's also is he supposed to be Native American in that?
Yeah,
Here he's like Latino or whatever.
Chicano or what he
Yeah.
calls himself, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a weird movie. It was more watchable than what I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, because I had like just from the title alone, I had some preconception of like what was going. And also that they eat Raoul just kind of like on a whim. It's like we need to hurry up and put something together. We forgot to get food, and they're just kind of like, oh, we got a body. It's
Yeah, we just were suddenly experts at preparing and cooking the human body.
you know, and then like it shows them eating, but it doesn't. It just all looks like slop. It does nothing because like she's supposed to be like their dream, restaurant they're gonna open. She's supposed to be the cook. She's like a nutritionist at the hospital, but like
Yeah.
everything she makes looks terrible.
Yeah.
Well, looks isn't everything, supposedly. So
Yeah, it's nutritious.
Yeah, it's nutritious and it tastes wonderful. It looks like shit.
There was a funny scene where they go to the sex store because he has to get all this like their client wants all this sex stuff, and that was a pretty funny scene.
Oh yeah, who was that guy who was the owner of the store?
I can't remember. Yeah, he looks familiar. Yeah.
I can't because I looked him up and it's like what is his name? Something John Paragon.
Yeah.
I couldn't find anything else that I recognized him from. Been on an episode of Deep Space Nine. He was an extra in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Like that's not something.
Oh, he's probably
Hmm.
he's probably a stand-up comic or something. So you've probably seen him somewhere else or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a lot of comics in this.
Yeah, I saw
who was the Nazi guy? Was that? Was
Um,
that? Because I kept thinking that was like the guy from Princess Bride, that the guy who like has the poison or whatever. But I don't think that was him. I'm not sure.
No, it looked like him.
Okay.
Because there's some of these people I did recognize, and then some of them I was like, why does that guy look familiar? Like the lady at the swingers party, the last one.
Yeah.
Like that, I forget what her name is, but I've seen that woman in all kinds of things. She was always like the uptight mom in the 80s and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, she has like the really high pitched voice. She's the secretary in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Right. That's it, yeah. Something like that. It's
Yeah.
like, wow, weird. It's a kind of an interesting thing. And who else was the guy? Who was the first guy? Buck
Jesus.
Henry was in it.
Who's Buck Henry?
Oh, he's the guy who did The Graduate.
Oh, okay.
He wrote the screenplay, and he's like someone who wrote screenplays and stuff. And he was also in Catch-22, which is a weird fucking movie. I don't know if he's in anything else or not, but I just remember him as the guy who did. He wrote because The Graduate was a real controversial movie when it came out.
Yeah.
And they were talking to him, and I was like, that guy, that's got to be the same guy, and it was. Oh, and he was also in, like I said, Catch-22. Oh, excuse me, which is a really strange movie to watch about World War II.
Yeah.
And
But
about
also like
existentialism.
an incredible cinematography for a movie that makes almost no sense.
Yeah, oh, it looks great. but
That
yeah.
guy died making that movie
Oh, that's right. I remember hearing about that. Yeah.
because he didn't want to wear the safety gear, and they were filming shit in airplanes. He fell out of the fucking airplane.
Yeah.
And also he lost, and he also because he was like kind of a risk-taking filmmaker, or he was a cameraman on what was the James Bond with the guy that only did it once, Lazenby,
Oh, yeah, George Lazenby or whatever. Yeah.
Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Right.
So in that like the last chase scene, he like lost his leg filming that scene.
Oh, Jesus.
So he was an amputee, and then he didn't want the safety gear for this movie. He fucking flew out of the airplane and died. But there's like this amazing scene where it's like a one long take, and like they're in a Jeep, and there's like all these fucking like B-17, I think they're B-17 bombers, just landing in the background like one after another, and the
Yeah.
last one crashes. It's like, holy shit, that's a fuckload of production value in one long shot. And this movie makes no sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. The book makes more sense.
I heard that Soderbergh wanted to remake that movie, which that would be interesting. But
It would be. Well, the thing is with the film, it's like they took a book which was kind of a strange book anyway, but they tried to make it like Slaughterhouse-5 in the movie, where it was just like it just jumped around to
Yeah.
different things, and it's like that's not really what the book was. But that's a weird movie. We'll have to watch that sometimes. You can find it somewhere. Because it was sort of like a MASH movie in a
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
but with even less cohesion to it.
who is the main actor in that?
Alan Arkin,
Yeah, that's it.
who you never hear from him anymore.
Wasn't the guy who
He's
played?
gotta be in his 90s now, though, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's still doing stuff. Wasn't the guy who played Radar also in that movie?
Yes, I believe he was.
Thought it's like that was the only thing he ever did. He did MASH and like that.
I think so.
So like he was also like he was in the MASH movie and he's
Yeah, he was in the movie and the TV.
show.
I'll do this.
We should do that sometime. We should like go back and watch like the first season of MASH. for the
Oh, that'd be
show.
weird. That's a good show.
I don't even know where you can watch it, but like I remember like liking that as a kid, but I've never seen it like sequentially. You just like see MASH when you're a kid.
Yeah, it's kind of like my Babylon 5 deep dive. It's like I've seen them all, just not.
Because I hear like there's the who's the guy? Who's the funny doctor who plays Hawkeye? Alan Alden.
Alan Alda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was like the divide they talk about, like when he kind of like took over the show and they made it like more serious and stuff, and it was like more of a parallel to the Vietnam War and stuff, and became all dark and brooding, and like but like the first seasons were just kind of these weird comedy. It was like this weird comedy that's vaguely serious sometimes, but not all the
Yeah.
time. But it got more serious than Alan Alda.
Yes, I do remember that because I remember they did the black and white episode.
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, they shot. Well, it was like a camera crew was coming in
Oh, okay.
and filming the doctors at work, and that's when it started to take its serious turn, because it was like a 50s, that was the camera crew and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, I remember that. Oh, well, so eating Raoul, which led to a whole weird odyssey of strange movies like it. Or movies nothing like it, just weird abstract movies.
Yeah, this weirdness reminds me of other weirdness.
Yes. Well, do we have anything else for this week?
No,
No, I think we're set. All right. Well, this week for the American Greed Factory podcast, this is Nathan.
it's common.
Andrew?
Goodbye, America.